And some other European countries are now dealing with their worst ever monkeypox outbreak. So what do you need to know? This outbreak is really unusual. Most of these cases have no connection to West Africa. They haven't travelled recently. They've been within the UK, but they are picking up the infection here. And that makes it slightly concerning for the UK Health Security Agency because they don't know the source, they don't know for sure how it's spreading, whether it is still in the old way, probably direct skin-to-skin contact, or whether there's a possibility that there might be a mutation that makes it easier to transmit through coughs and sneezes and so on. These are unknowns, and that is the concern. When there are unknowns in the wake of a pandemic like COVID, it does cause people to start wondering. At the moment, the risk to the general public is low, but they are trying to make sure people are aware of the symptoms so they come forward if needed. The key symptoms of monkeypox are flu-like symptoms to start with. So you've got the fever, the muscle aches and pains, backache, chills, exhaustion, but also a very characteristic rash. And it looks a little bit like chickenpox, which perhaps isn't surprising. So it starts off as a rash, which then blisters and then scabs over a period of 2 to 3 weeks. Well, it's likely to be most commonly spread through direct skin-to-skin contact. So contact with the blisters, the fluids from those blisters, and particularly if you've got a break in the skin, but also through bedding, towels, clothing. There's also a chance that it can be spread through coughs and sneezes from somebody who's got a very active infection, but that's less likely than the direct skin-to-skin contact. One unusual aspect of this is that a high proportion of the cases are gay or bisexual men. Not all, and it's important to say that this is not a disease that's likely to be spread by sex, and it's likely to have nothing to do with sexuality. But health authorities are trying to raise awareness in men that they need to be aware of the symptoms because it may be spreading within a sexual network. Men who are having sex with other men who may be at risk simply because direct and intimate skin-to-skin contact could be the route of transmission, and that's why they are trying to raise awareness. But that has to be balanced, of course, against any potential for stigma. This could affect anybody, but at the moment they are very concerned about spreading within the gay and bisexual community in particular. One really interesting twist to this is that doctors are dusting off vials of smallpox vaccine. Now, smallpox hasn't been given as a jab routinely in the UK since 1971, but there is a small stockpile kept. Although it seems like a completely different disease, smallpox and monkeypox are in fact related, and the smallpox vaccine is 85% effective against monkeypox. So the idea is that not only can you give it to people who haven't developed the symptoms yet, but you might also be able to give it to people who have been in direct contact and might be at risk. We are at the tail end of the COVID pandemic. To see another animal virus jumping into humans and then starting to spread between people is obviously going to set the alarm bells ringing for a lot of folks. Now, I think we need to be careful. At the moment, we've got very few cases spreading in an unusual way. So I think we need to be slightly balanced. On the one hand, we do need to find out what the source is, understand whether the virus has changed in any way, but we're not at the moment in another COVID situation. This isn't a primarily airborne disease, and we do have an effective vaccine there, ready to go. So it's likely we will be able to shut this down. Probably take a little bit longer than it has in the past, but I don't think we're in the situation of another pandemic.